Hi, I'm John Newton, aka Snap-on John 100, and you are watching Wilderness Self-Reliance. I'm going to use terrain association, and so I'll go over a few things on the map. I've zoomed in here on this one, and I will point things out. Right here is a hill, and right next to it, this is called a reentrant or a draw. This right here is a spur. So typically there's a draw or reentrant, then there's a spur, so they're one right after another. So that's a spur, a reentrant or draw, spur, draw, spur, draw, or reentrant. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be starting from this little X right here, and what I want to do is I want to end up over here at this little X, and I'll try to zoom out a little bit more. I'll put the pen right there pointing at it. Pan over. There's a small X right here, and my final destination is down here, which I got to pan up to. Right there. Let me back up a little bit more. Okay, so here's a river going through here, and I'm going to be starting from up here, and I want to come down and be down at this point right here. Now, as you can see, all through here, there's a whole lot of bad terrain that I don't want to have to go through. The closer they are, this is almost probably over a 45-degree angle here and here, straight down and straight back up. These are cliffs along here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk a lot farther, but I'm going to be walking over, and that's why I'm going to end up over here first, and then I'm going to drop down into this hollow, spring hollow, and follow this little feeder creek down here, and then over, and then end up right there. Okay, so I'm going to be using terrain association. So my first landmark is going to be right here. This little tiny reentrant right here. It looks like a blip on the map, but it's actually pretty easy to see out in the field. So I'm going to go down this, because this is easier to walk down here, and I'm going to end up in this reentrant right down here. I'm going to follow this down, which is pretty steep, and I'm going to find this creek bed right here, and this is another hollow. So I'm going to find this creek bed, then I'm going to navigate up this creek, and I'm going to be passing, when I get down here, I'm going to get to a point where there's a reentrant here and one this way. So I'm going to take the left fork off to the left. There's a spur. I'll be running right into a spur. So I'm going to use terrain association by watching, going around this spur towards this reentrant. When I get to this reentrant, I go around this spur and up this creek bed, which might or might not have water in it, but what I'm going to be noticing is there's going to be a spur to my right side that's real steep banked, and then as I'll see a reentrant on the left, so I'll know when I'm precisely right across there on the creek bed. I'll continue up, and I'll see another reentrant right here, and across from that there's another reentrant, a little spur, another reentrant, and a spur. So I'll see that reentrant, spur, and a spur over here. So my main catching feature is going to be the spur on the left. I'll continue up, and once again the creek bed goes off to the right, but I'm going to head right into a spur. I'm going to take the reentrant to the left and go up this reentrant until I hit this spur right here, and then I'm going to follow this spur up. When I get up here, I'm going to be on a road. It doesn't show on this map, but there's a little road here that follows this ridge, because there's some properties up here that people have cabins on. So I'm going to take, when I get here, then I'm going to drop down into this spring hollow, follow the stream bed all the way down till I get to here. I follow the creek around this. This is like a raised area from flooding. It might even be different now, but I'm going to follow the creek bed until I get to the junction where the creek feeds into the river, and then I'll be at my final destination. So that's how I'm going to plan it out. I'm only going to be needing my compass just to get me to that re-entrant right there, because without my compass I could end up walking and getting to that re-entrant, and I'll get screwed up or go off any other direction. So I'm going to take a bearing to this re-entrant. It looks like it's going to be up is north on this map and down is south, so it's going to be almost completely straight south of me. But I'll show you on my compass how I orient my compass. First of all, my direction of travel is from this direction to this direction, so that's why I have my compass turned around. I'm just going this very short distance from here to here. Okay, so all I have to do is put my compass and have it pointing towards from that X to that re-entrant. Now, if I point my compass and put that along the base plate, if I line up my base plate like this, my direction of travel is from here to here. That's backwards, so my bearing is going to be 180 degrees off. You have to match up, since I'm going to be, this is the direction of travel with this compass, from this is the back end and that's the forward end. So now I lay that on the map just like this, making sure that that X, where I'm starting from here, and I want to hit this re-entrant here. So this is the line of travel I'm going. So the direction of travel is I'm going to be going south. So what I need to do is to move this bezel, forget about the needle for a moment, and what I got to do is I have to turn the bezel so that north, this north in the bezel points north on the map. If this matches this and your direction of travel is correct on your compass, your bearing will be correct. If you goof up either one of those three things, you'll be 180 degrees off. Okay, once I've got that lined up, and I've got the X lined up here, and the re-entrant, and so the compass base plate is along that little line. I hold the base plate down to the map so it doesn't move. And now I take these little, there's orientating lines that run north-south in this, inside this vial. And so what I need to do is have them superimpose those on any of these north-south grid lines. This is a grid line, and there's one over here. And I don't have any over here, so I'm going to have to create that grid line. So in order to create it, I'm going to use a straight edge. So I'm going to take the map, the compass away, take my straight edge, and I'm going to put my straight edge right on top of the grid line, so it's exact, and then make an artificial one here, and do that again, and just keep marching my way over. Actually, I'll start over here. I'm going to move this map. Okay. Alright, so my straight edge is exactly on this UTM coordinate north-south grid line. So now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to make another line. Now that's parallel to that one. And that's all I have to do because that one runs practically right through where I'm going. Now I'm going to make another one so it'll make sure it's inside the vial. So I put that straight edge up against that one. You want to be very accurate here, because this is your accuracy. Okay. So now, when I put my compass down, I place my compass so that the base plate, you can be on either side. I can be over here or over here, and I think you can see better if I'm on this side. So I've lined it up with the X right there and the reentrant right there, so that's where I'm going. Need to move it over some. Nope, that's good. Okay, so now I'm on it. I'm on it. So the other thing I'd have to do, the direction of travel on the compass is this direction, and I'm going from there to there. That's correct. The north end of the vial is north on the map. So that's correct. So now all I have to do is align these arrows with, or I mean align these lines. So I superimpose a line right on top of one of the grid lines that I put in there, and it's on there now. So now I can read my bearing right there at the index pointer, and let me see if I can zoom the camera in so you can see the lines in there. So I don't know if they'll show up or not. Now you can see those north and south lines. If you just don't pay any attention where the needle is, and you'll see parallel black lines, they're thin. One of those lines is exactly on top of one of the north-south grid lines that I created. So now once that's aligned like that, then I can read in the index mark right here, I can read the bearing, and that's my bearing that I got to travel on. And so I take that away, and let's see if I can see it here on this. It is 152 degrees. So I put that on a piece of paper. Okay, this is the first leg, and I'm going straight off this way, a bearing of about 152 degrees, and that will take me right straight into that first little small reentrant or draw, and then I'm going to follow that down to the main draw that goes into the creek bed. So let's just walk this way. I got my two babies with me, so I might have to whistle to them periodically. Here's that draw down that way. So we're going to follow that down. When we get to the bottom of it, I'll turn the camera back on. Here's the main big draw that I was talking about. The first one was kind of a blip on the map. This one, as you can see, there's Chloe down there. We're going to follow that down. And I'll get the map out too. We came from up here, and that's just a very gentle, the terrain rises on both sides of that cut pretty gradually, so it's not a big deal on the map. I'll go all the way down here, and I'll get the map out and show you our progress. That is what it looks like, that we're going to follow that. It's going to slope to our right and left as we walk down it. So we just follow this thing. It's going to funnel us right into the creek, and we don't even have to use a compass or anything, because there's no way we can goof up, because in order to get off course we got to go way up a steep hill either to the right or left of us, and we'll just follow this straight down. It's like a V funneling us right straight down. This is a perfect example of the reentrants aren't straight, It's just you're following the lowest point of the terrain, and the ground rises on both sides of you while you're going down the center of it. And I also forgot to mention, I'm using the reentrance as my catching feature. Like when I followed the first one down, the second one was the lowest point in the terrain, so when I went down, I was funneled down to it, and then you could tell it went from left to right. And if I would have crossed it, I would have had to go way up a super steep incline. So therefore, it was a catching feature to let me know that, like, I just need to stop right here, and whichever direction I was supposed to turn. In this case, I was supposed to turn to the right. And then, now I'm using it, so that was my catching feature. Now I'm using it as a chair rail. So without studying my map, I can just deadhead and follow this reentrant, and just staying basically on this little, it would be a creek bed if it was raining, water would be funneling down through here, but I just follow the lowest point in the terrain all the way down until it dumps out into a hollow where there'll be a creek, and that creek is now my catching feature. So now I'm just going to hike until I get to that creek. There are my two babies. There's Chloe, and there's Wiley, the water dog. He's already been playing in that little pool right there. But now you see I use this water as my catching feature, because you can't miss it. So I didn't really have to stare at my map or compass almost from start to finish, except for my first azimuth to find the first little reentrant, which was small, so it's easy to overlook. But once I found that, I have not needed any kind of navigational aids at all other than the features that I've picked. So now I'm going to follow this creek bed up to a spur, and if I was orienteering like in a race, I would be following along the way. I'd be noting, like, say, reentrants or spurs that I was passing while I was moving upstream. But in this case I don't need to, because the stream basically makes a sharp turn right at a big spur, and that's where I'm navigating to. I'm going to stop at that spur, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn left. This will give you an idea of the terrain I'm navigating. This right here goes up where you have to climb with hand and feet, and my house is straight up there. And down here is a pretty pool that has its spring fed, and there's water in it pretty much all year round. There's Chloe and Wiley walking around it. Wiley will probably swim in it. Chloe is kind of afraid of water. She puts her foot in there, but that's about all. So I've got to just walk all the way up as far as you can see. Try to zoom in on it. Up that way and continue on. I truly live in a beautiful area. I am probably 35 miles or so from the Ozark Trail. One of the trailheads, anyway. Now, if you do need to know exactly where you are, and like for instance, if you wanted to shoot an azimuth to something, it doesn't mean anything if you have no idea where you are. So right there is another reentrant that goes off, but it's perpendicular to this creek bed. So it's something that I came upon. Here's the creek bed, and the creek goes around here, and it goes up around, and this thing right in front of me is a spur. So if I look at my map, I came down that one where my thumb is, right that one. Where I am now is right here where this one comes in and the creek bed is. So the intersection of this reentrant and the creek bed, that spur is right there, and I just have to skirt around it and continue on up. But if I needed to shoot an azimuth or anything like that, I know exactly where I am. And also I started right up there where my thumb is, so I could also go up this reentrant if I wanted to, And when it started to smooth out and there's another reentrant right there, I could follow that one up and I'd be almost where I started. Now we're coming up on what is called the wishing pool. It's a spring. The water flows over the top of that structure when it's raining, but all year round that's got water in it that comes from underground. That thing, in the hottest part of the year, this stream I'm walking up kind of dries up, but that first pool we came to below my house is pretty much always got water in it because of this spring, but it's flowing underground. So, let's go up here. I've been running into those weird spiders with the abdomen that looks like it's a blob with a bunch of points on it. I don't know if they're supposed to resemble just debris suspended, like a piece of leaf or something, I don't know, but they're all over the place. So that's why I keep moving my hiking pole up in the air. Here we go. These rocks look like somebody has put them there. I don't know. I don't remember them ever being there before. Unless a rain could have done that, but I don't think so. Well, let's just take a look at this, how pretty it is. See this? Just a straight wall. It's up there. So, just drops off. I just stopped here for a snack, but I just wanted to point out, here's another way you can tell where you are. If you look at this creek bed, this whole channel almost looks like a broad, flat road. And the sides are sloping up at more of a gentle slope than before. So if you look at the map, down here where my thumb is, the lines are close together, and then once you get up into here, they broaden apart, and the contour lines, see how this is a gentle slope here and a fairly gentle slope there. That pinpoints where you are on the map too. You can use that as an indicator. I have finally hit a major checkpoint. If you look right here, the creek bed cuts to the right, and there's a spur right straight ahead, and that reentrant goes around that spur. Okay, so I'm going to be going up that way, but I just wanted to point that out. I can show it on the map. It is right there where my thumb is, where you can see that spur right there. And it goes this way, and it also goes that way. So we're going to take off up this direction, because our destination is this reentrant right here under that 33. And if you look, there's the X. That's in the saddle of that ridge. And there should be a road up there. It's not showing on the map, but I think there's a road up there. Here's the road that I mentioned that we would cross. It's right here. And let's see. That's looking north. And to continue west on the map, we're right here, where my thumb is. We're right there. It's kind of a saddle. Well, the road goes along this ridge from north to south, or south to north, whichever. And where I need to go down is straight down that way west, and then that's into Spring Hollow, and then follow that all the way down to the river. But since I've been going at a snail's pace, actually 2 box turtles passed us, we're going to be going back on the road. So we're going to stop, curtail this trip, and we'll have to continue on later at a later date.